I was 7 years old, I started competing as a high-performance tennis player in BC. By the time I was 13 years old, I suffered a complete burnout. Now, I'm rebuilding my relationship to the sport I once loved, going back to my old coaches and peers as I train for my first tournament in over 10 years. Welcome to the return. Hey.
How are you doing though?
I'm doing great. I feel like that workout or that training session was some of the strongest advice, like life-wise, I've gotten in a long time. Which, as a 25-year-old, you don't really get life-wise anymore in like such a direct way. Damn, I got checked.
What were you doing when it was me supposed to do this?
Sweet.
Yes, you got it. You got it. You got it.
So we know each other from People's Court, which is now called the Coquitlam Tennis Center, I believe. And at the time, it was a great club that had, still is a great club, great junior programs. And my dad was working there, and I would always play wherever my dad was coaching. He was my coach. And he coached you at some point there, so that's how we know each other. But I guess we haven't seen each other in probably over 15 years. So on Sundays, my dad's groups would get together to play soccer, unorganized soccer, and this was always done on Sunday morning in North Van. And it was a soccer match followed by fitness, pretty brutal fitness. And we were aging from the range, or our age range was from 8 to 15. Some people didn't know how to play soccer, some didn't. They'd still have to play. And it was just, it was a fun way to start your Sunday. But if you weren't fit, then you were not having a good time. But it was my dad's way of bringing together his group to get to know each other in and out of tennis context. So I think that is actually like one of the reasons that I'm super close with my friends to this day, or the people I grew up playing tennis with, because we had to go through that kind of grind together. But at the end of the day, we look back at it fondly, even though it sucked at the time.
Those kids are very fast. And they didn't break a sweat, they're not even panting. And they're like, hee hee hee.
Yeah, specifically what we did on Sundays was we'd play soccer, as I mentioned, and then we would sprint up a hill. The hill was maybe 100 to 150 meters, and it was quite a steep incline. And we would have to race, so my dad would pair you up with somebody who is similar speed to you, and you'd have to race that person up the hill. And if you lost, then at the end, for the grand finale of Sunday, which was running laps around a field, you would have to run more laps. So you were rewarded if you were fast. And every Sunday, we'd add a lap to the final field run, getting to a place where I think we were doing close to 20 laps. And you wouldn't want to be last, because there was some other kind of form of punishment there.
Yeah, and I remember, I do have a distinct memory of you actually running laps.
Oh God.
Because you and I were last at one
Yeah,
point.
oh God.
Because we were in the younger half of the group.
Yeah.
And I remember your dad heckling you, because you and I were like toe to toe, and I think I was in tears. I think you might have been in tears.
I was definitely in tears.
we were trying to make it to not be last, and I remember being like, gotta keep going. But it's a core memory for me, is your dad heckling you and I in last place.
Yeah. We'll call it motivation.
Yeah.
I play tennis because, well, first of all, it's really fun to hit the ball, and it's really good for when, like, out of school, or in school, like when you're really stressed, it's really nice to hit the ball. It's a lot of fun with friends, and it's also really nice for like a mental challenge, because tennis is like really different than other sports and it's like school, because you're by yourself. You can be on your, like, you can be by yourself for like 5 hours on the court and nobody can help you. So it's a really good mental challenge.
Yes. Well, I guess I've always been a pretty competitive person, and my dad was into tennis from like when I was a very young age, and it's a mental sport, so I guess I kind of fell in love with it, and my parents always supported me. So it's a very, again, like I said, it's a very mental sport, and I'm like someone that really likes being competitive and getting into things, and there's a lot of moments in tennis where it's like sudden death deuce or like one last point, and it's a lot about mental toughness, and I really love that that's so relevant in the sport.
My name is Ernesto Ponce Avila, and I've been playing tennis for 42 years. I have coached around 12 national champions in Mexico, US, Canada. Like I've been also been involved in like NCAA Division I coaching with Tulane University. I had traveled with some ITF players, with some ATP players, some WTA players. So I'm like, I had a little bit of everything for a little bit of time. But what I like the most is developing, like really taking a player and long term. That's what I really enjoy the most.
Could you describe the system and method of coaching that you've created?
Okay. So the Sistema method, the roots of Sistema are like something very rarely someone asks me for, so maybe a little bit out there, but I have a spiritual practice which is a bit indigenous, and it has to do with like breathing and movement. And so this practice that happened to me in my teenage years, like I developed this practice, I didn't know what it was, but apparently I'm a lineage holder of this practice. And through movement and breathing, you end up doing things that you didn't think you could do, right? Like stay still for like 15 minutes or stretch in a certain way. Your breath and your movement will put you in that position. So when I started like experiencing this thing, nothing to do with tennis or anything else, I was like, like this has to be relatable to other things. And so that was one big aspect of like don't taking literal coaching from someone like, oh, this is the way, like being more like, okay, like it opened me up to be like, no, I don't have to stretch this way, I just have to let my body find its own stretch that it wants to do. So that's a big aspect of Sistema, just allowing the essence of a shot or of something to have access to the essence, not to clutter it with like knowledge, like, oh, this is the way, you have to do this, you have to do that. So if I'm gonna develop like, a tennis player, what are the departments or what are the sectors that this player tennis has to excel, to have a successful tennis career, or to develop as a complete human being? Like, what is it, right? Like, so I was like, okay, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the technical, the tactical, like the intangible.
2, 3, and recover. Forward, forward, go. Good. 4 for 4. 5 for 5.
I played like recreational for a while because my parents both played. And then when COVID hit, I started getting competitive, and I've just kept on with that ever since. Enjoy playing the sports my parents played, so I kind of just started. And then I like how it's also like not a team sport, so I can like play by myself. And so kind of just rely on yourself, and you can't get mad at anyone but yourself. And it's just super fun, and you make a lot of friends.
There's a competitiveness about it that I feel like other team sports don't have. And I feel like you're just competing for yourself, which I love the most. Because I grew up watching my dad play, and I always wanted to play, but I was always super young. But then eventually, like, I started playing myself, and I just like fell in love with the sport.
Good, nice find. That was awesome. 1, 2. Come on, Jess.
What are the most important elements to train in a tennis player?
Yeah. Now, what I said in the beginning, it's different stages, different needs. The most important thing, it's if you miss a stage, you miss something. It's hard to reach, the top. Stage 7 to 9, it's stage you develop, your motoric system. That's one stage, one window. And next window, it's like age 13. If you miss age 7 to 9 for developing the speed, it's hard to catch for future. And then from my experience, after age 10, kids losing the cardio. Kids under like 8 to 9 years old, they have a VO2 max same with the marathon runner. Wow. And after age 10, the cardio goes quickly down. And then it's different priorities. Speed, age 7 to 9, cardio coming age after 10. And it's very important, it's not just speed, but it's lots of components. You have to work on balance, you have to have a reaction, you have to work on flexibility, you have to work cardio. It's too many components together.
2 for 2. Yes, 3 for 3. Forward. 4 for 4. Great start. So yeah, the goal of this drill is we want them to be able to recognize opportunities to take offense. So a lot of the time they might hit a good shot and then someone's going to pop the ball up to try and get time. And we want them to come forward and be able to take it out of the air, to take away time, which is not always so easy for players at this age to do. They're so used to just hitting from the baseline, right? But once they get used to taking it out of the air, they realize it's essentially a ground stroke that they're just hitting out of the air.
In Systema method, you emphasize off-court teachings and specifically the mental, emotional, and social. Why do these focuses affect the game of the player?
You can only spend that many hours in the tennis courts, and I'm not a coach that believes that you should spend a lot of time in the tennis court. I think that you should spend time in the tennis court to play and do certain things, but then you can also do other things around, fitness or footwork, or learning how to cope with adversity, routines that you can do to improve your game. They don't have to be in a tennis court, they can be just elastics. And the most important one that is the toughest to get a kid or a teenager to believe in is now I am, because I'm a little bit older and I have experienced what happens when my mental, my emotional, and my spiritual energy, which I call intangibles, but it's just a name that people that work close were like, you cannot put spiritual, right? Put intangibles. Right. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put intangibles. But when you know your belief system that has to do with your energy of spiritual energy, and you combine it in a healthy competitive system, you compete with no problem. But if you don't have a strong spiritual base or it could be even religion based, whatever it is, but if you don't have that support, and then you're dealing with competition, but you don't have a stronger, wall that supports you, then everything is gonna be so big, right? So usually the players that compete the best are the players that have a very strong spiritual base, or could be either belief system, very clear. The family could be listen, in this family we work hard and we do our best and we're on time every time. I have players that are some of them I really go through what that is. Some others they don't go there, but I know that these are the beliefs, right?
Okay, that blew my mind. So much of that. In my experience with tennis, my coaches have never emphasized any feeling of spiritual or intangibles, as it's called in your method. And I'm comparing it a lot to other things I've done outside of tennis and why that has stuck, like why improv to me has stuck. I started when I was 13, I'm still doing it today, was because there was this backbone. I was taught like a belief system in improv that no matter when I go on stage, I can't fail, no matter what, yes and. And in tennis, I didn't have this backbone at all. I would get on court and I'm thinking forehand, backhand, and I'm thinking I missed. I did that wrong, I've done this wrong, oh, I'm doing so bad. Right. But I had nothing behind me to like fall back on. So you just blew my mind. Attack,
Good, that's all right. I really love the way you filled the point. You're neutral. Do you see how your backhand, how much better your backhand is now?
Yeah.
Your attack had a good mindset in a sense that you didn't go to kill, but did you play an attacking shot? Or did you just push it?
I pushed it.
You pushed it, which allowed me to neutralize you with my lob quite easily.
Forward, yes.
Yep.
Forward, yes.
Good job. I got an easy ball to put him in trouble. I did such a good job that I got now even an easier ball with even more options available to me.
Okay.
So I don't have to go nuts.
Yeah.
I can just simply place that smash at a speed I know I can't miss. But you cannot let that fear sneak into your spine.
Yeah.
Because then you won't be able to perform.
Yeah. How do you, as a coach, work with different intangibles or belief systems?
That
in each kid.
Yeah, I think with time and with experience, now I'm like I have to be very open to each and to discover, be curious, discover with the player what works for that player. There are certain things that I believe they have to be present, like I think you have to define. I want to be #1 player in Canada, or I want to be top 10 player in the world. I think you have to. I might be wrong, but if you just let things to open, then a lot of things get in the way. You don't have like a clear point of the mind doesn't have a point of like whenever that happens, then I can let go. If you don't have something, then the mind and your habits and the desire decreases because you don't know when to let it go, right? When I play now, I really enjoy it. Yeah, I really, really enjoy it. Like for me, it's like really a joyful dance to score points. Like to stay, like as simple as this sounds, but it's not as simple as you probably know. But it's like just to stay with the ball and to control the ball and score a point against the other player, and like to think as little as possible as you're doing it, and to end up trying to score and win the match the easiest way possible. That's like an inner journey, an inner feeling that as the tournament goes on and as the match goes on, is like nothing gives me that feeling.
Oh, so we just got to train together now, after over 10 years, like 12 years, 15 years. What would you say my biggest weakness is now?
Okay, actually, if I want to now I have a different attitude completely about perfectionism. Perfectionism is a weakness. Perfectionism ruins everything. And the reason I learned that is that because I ruined 2 careers. I could have, I started late and all coaching I got was 1 hour private, a level of coaching that is below the instructor course, which is our first step of coaching. And I made it to top junior level internationally. So if I had the resilience, if I could continue, even with those circumstances, I still would have done better in life. Same thing happened with my music career. Go with the perfectionist mentality. If today I only can play 3 hours of guitar,
because I have to learn a new language, I'm in a different country, I have to cook, I have to do my laundry, I've got to do everything on my own. That's not good enough for my guitar training, so today I'm not going to train anything at all, because anything below 7.5 to 8 hours is not conducive and useful anyways. That's dumb, because you accumulate 5 months of not playing guitar every day and learn the new language and cooking and everything. That's the downside of it. Perfectionism, you take it to your relationships and you ruin that too, because you're not perfect. People you're living with are not perfect. They can't be perfect. And no matter how much of compatibility there is, no matter it's 80 percentile of goodness, and you just keep picking and poking and sad and dissatisfied about that 20, even if you're coming from a good place and a good heart to better it, but the attitude is lacking gratitude. It's lacking gratitude and acknowledgement of, we have 80 and we're going to work our way towards even bettering this 20. It always, from a perfection, is like, until this is 100, that 80 doesn't matter anyway, so let's roll up the sleeve and go, who's with me? It's like, nobody. So it ruins relationship, and I've seen it in relationship to my significant others, in relationship to my business partners back at a time, and I consider it a disease that I had to work so hard to get rid of it. That's your bloody entertainment. You got on the court with me and halfway through a few points, you're already throwing tantrum. How old are you? What is your profession? Yeah. Do you do that to anybody? Less likely. Right. But the problem, the disease of that perfectionist is that we don't treat ourselves well. And what we don't understand, deep down the first 5, 6, 7, 8 layers, if you don't treat yourself well, you won't treat the people not well either. And the suckiest part of it is that, sorry, you can cut this out. The bad part of it is that we somewhat we tend to be more unkind to the people who deserve the kindness of us, the highest level of kindness from us. That is your mother, that is your significant other, that's your child, that's your partner, that's your husband, that's your wife. Somehow, somewhat we think, well, they should take me as who I am, and they know me, and I'm good in so many aspects, they can put up with it. So it ruins everything, that type of perfectionist attitude, because it ruins you, and at a deeper level, when you're so impatient with yourself, when you're so unkind with your own failures that should be a stepping stone to move forward, you won't be kind if there are people learning from you, if that's going to be your future child that's supposed to learn something, if it's going to be your husband, your wife, someone, it ruins everything. So I saw that. So the same lovely Noah, it walked in, those two are the same. And that actually, that's for me is a red flag. Okay. If you still see that you're predominantly perfectionist, I can slap you out of it to wake you up out of it, because you just saw what a fantastic training that was. Not because I'm so brilliant, because sometimes I am. It's because if I manage to shift you from that fixed mindset to the growth mindset, you were having a blessed time. Anna was as rough as it can get on you, but none of it is translated in that no pain, no gain mentality. We were doing something was fun to do, very honest, very serious, and I'm picking on you. Why are you not running? You're lunging, come on. But I'm not demanding something that didn't resonate, and you're not feeling bad about yourself. It was actually empowering, not because I was just bringing a mean, strong type of coaching mentality. It's like, we're going to take ownership for what we know we can take ownership. And we're going to judge ourselves to that standard because we value ourselves. And anytime we behave poorly, whining, because we have that perfectionist attitude, we got to set the courses straight and change that. That's not a good attitude. So that's there you have it.
This experience, it has taught me in anything else that I do, like, yeah, in order to enjoy something, you know, you have to like, you know, learn it, and then you have to let it go.
So I'm feeling great. I'm feeling super excited. I feel like I have a way forward, and I know how I'm going to train for the next couple months.